Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. That's Maddie. It's week 18. That's it. Week 18.
Yeah.
We got like 2 games that are mean anything, and then we're off to the playoffs.
Yeah, the regular season is coming to an end. And Jay, there's a couple of games that could have meant something, but everybody's resting players and all of that kind of stuff as well. Like the AFC number 1 seed is still up for grabs with the Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Patriots. But then in the Broncos game, the Chargers are resting everybody. In the Patriots game, it looks like Miami arresting everybody as well. And I can't remember who the Jaguars have got right now off the top of my head, but it's the Titans as well. And it's just like, well, then everybody's getting rested on the other side. So we end up being there. So yeah, it's a shame that week 18 comes down to nothing apart from tonight's game and Jake, last night's games as well. So we're going to be going through last night's games. We're still going to go through every single game and give you guys the spread betting. That's who we'll bet for. That's who we would bet for this week up against the spread, and to see if we can both finish in decent shape through our records there. We'll give you the update of how we did next week, so follow along for that as well. Before then, we look ahead to the Pittsburgh versus Baltimore Ravens game, the only game that matters today.
Well, it's not. Saints Falcons decide.
Saints Falcons now matters. Sorry. Yes.
Neither of them can win the division, but they decide it.
Yeah, I do wonder with the Saints Falcons, like how much does that G you up for the game? Like having the decision of who makes it. Like, do they not like both just hate the Bucs more than they hate the Panthers? Like, I know the players. Like to the players, does it really matter?
No, they just both want to go home with a win and not live in a loss the whole off season.
Yeah, exactly. And they can say, and when they next meet the other team, they can say, you only got to the playoffs because of us, or like whatever, when they next meet the other team. So
well,
I suppose
if the Vikings win today, all offseason, I'm blaming the Cowboys for not going to the playoffs. Not us for not winning another game. I'm blaming you guys for the whole offseason.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that is a big game for the Vikings. I think that is a big game for the Vikings, though, as well. Like going out on a winning season. I think it's a big game for the Cowboys as well. Like going out 8-1, like going out on a winning season, like
not
above
losing.
500. Yeah, above 500. It's a big deal, I think.
Are you above 500? Isn't that the quintessential 500, 8-1? Like
it's the closest to 500 you can now get due to the new the new schedule. But Jay, let's look back to games that did really matter, some big games. Let's go to the number 1 overall pick in the NFC now, the Seattle Seahawks, who clinched the bye and the playoffs go through Seattle by beating the San Francisco 49ers. Jay, the score was kind of close, but did the Seahawks dominate the 49ers despite the scoreline looking that close?
I think that game left me more questions about the Seahawks than it did answers.
Okay, yeah. Go for it. What questions?
Because they couldn't put them away. Like, what are you doing? You couldn't put them away. You had every opportunity to put them away, and every chance you had to put them away, you didn't. That made me question, like, and it's not that because the 49ers defense isn't what we've been talking about. It's that 49ers offense. And they held them in check, and the offense didn't put them away. I'm not saying they played awful or anything like that, but it leaves me more questions like what's going to happen when you're in a shootout or in a dogfight in the playoffs. But also, I'm not like saying they're not a great team. They don't deserve the first seed. I'm just saying it leaves me more questions than it left me with answers by the time the game was over.
Yeah, I went to bed at about halftime in that game because, it was 2 a.m. for me. And it just, like, I went to bed just thinking I could be going to bed now with the Seahawks absolutely dominant in a case where, like, it shouldn't even be close. The game should be done at halftime. Like, within the first half, I think it was the Seahawks had 150 yards and the 49ers had about 30. Or something like that. The first down totals were absolutely crazy in that first half. And the Seahawks just didn't put the 49ers away. So I do agree with you that raises a lot of questions. And I couldn't really work out why they weren't, what it was that made them not able to put it away, because they looked good, and then it just didn't go. And I think to me, it's like you need to make sure you're ticking over with those points as well. They left 6 points on the table with the field goal kicker missing 2 as well, and you need to be able to like accumulate those points. But you're right, they couldn't put them away, and I'm not sure what it was down to, because to me, Sam Darnold played pretty well. Their run game looked fantastic, and I just couldn't work it out.
Yeah, it was like every time they got over midfield, their offense just slowed, and it was weird. Maybe it's a blip, maybe it's because it's a division opponent, but in that, I felt like they felt way less dominant than they have throughout the whole season. But maybe, like I said, that could be a one-game blip, whatever. But it did make me start to question what was going on.
Yeah, I think the other reason they didn't like put them away fully is they knew they completely had them on offense. And I think this is one of the problems that you get with a defensive head coach, right? You play completely risk-averse football. You also know the history of Sam Darnold in these big spots. Like the way that they would lose the game there is if they started to give the 49ers short fields, right? Because they completely dominated the 49ers offense. They completely dominated them in that game. The Patriots will need the Broncos to lose in order to become the first seed. So, and with the knowledge of who's getting sat in that Broncos-Chargers game, I think we'll see. I don't think it's because the Patriots aren't going to win. But with just finishing off on this point, they kind of went into just risk-averse football, and they went into control the clock and just control the game. They had 15 minutes more in time of possession than the San Francisco 49ers. They had 37 minutes in time of possession against 22. That's the way you go out and beat a team, and you just grind them down. They were never really in the game, the 49ers, apart from the one drive that they did have that ended in a crazy interception. Joe, was that the turning point in this game where it deflected and then deflected off Christian McCaffrey and then taken? That was the big clincher in this game, surely.
Yeah, because there was still times at the in the fourth quarter where I was like, oh, the 49ers are going to fuck around and win this game.
Yeah.
And they were driving, but it was the turnovers that killed them a lot anyway. But I know Seattle has a great defense, but you got to learn how to generate more yards. It doesn't help that they just keep compiling injuries on top of injuries. The one guy who can take the top off for the 49ers and Pearsall's on the sideline with everybody else. But it still made but it left me with questions about the 49ers too. Like in that game, like you had chances to put this away. Brock Purdy looked the last 3 weeks like he was worth $50 million. Then last night, Brock Purdy made some mistakes that really hurt the 49ers in that game also. And I will say the 49ers have this weird way of getting you off the field on crucial third downs. Not every third down, but on crucial third downs, they figured out a way to get them off the field. I think that has to do more with Robert Saleh than it does with the talent on the defense this year. Yeah. So both teams are in the playoffs, but for Sam Darnold now, the pressure mounts because if you don't get to at least the NFC Championship game, what happens to the narrative?
Yeah, and with the 49ers there, they got 3 points, which is the joint worst under Kyle Shanahan, and they had like 170 yards, I think, which is the worst under Kyle Shanahan, which is it's a pretty big game to do that in. And Jay, how much of that is down to Brock Purdy and the 49ers, and how much is that down to the Seattle Seahawks? Because I was watching the Seahawks and I thought, yes, they need to be putting this team away, and I couldn't really work out why it was this close. But Jay, they do look like the most balanced team in the NFC in terms of like the defense, the defense that they can run and the offense that they can run as well. They look super balanced on both sides of the ball. And they're the best team in the NFC by seeding. Did they deserve to be the best team in the NFC? And was it more the Seahawks defense than the 49ers offensive struggles in this one?
Well, they deserve to be the number one seed because they earned it, right?
Yeah.
I have more faith in Seattle's defense than I do their offense, but that's not even a shot at their offense. I just think their defense is playing at an extremely high level. But most balanced, I think they're probably tied for the most balanced team if we're arguing it right now. And I think the Bears are up there. And I think the Bears, one of the reasons the Bears weren't fighting for the number 1 seed as closely is because their rough start at the beginning of the year. But the second half of this year, the Bears have been amazing. So I think Bears, Seahawks, most rounded teams in the NFC, both good running games, both good defenses. Now Seattle's defense is a little better, but Caleb Williams has been electric at times too. So, but I like what the Seahawks are doing. They earned everything they got. It wasn't handed to them. But I'm just saying they put them by winning and putting themselves in a great spot. They put them they put Sam Darnold in great spot for criticism if it doesn't go. Yeah. Even if it's not Sam Darnold's fault, right? Like even if it's not his fault, Sam Darnold is going to get the criticism.
And Sam Darnold was okay last night. He wasn't great. Like his completion percentage was really good, and the Seahawks were just running the ball on the 49ers, so there wasn't really much need to do. He got 20 of 26 for 198 yards or something. So not like a crazy 198 yards, 20 of 26. So not like some sort of crazy mad stat-based game. But because they won, then he gets that off his back he crumbles in moments, he crumbles in these moments. But the San Francisco 49ers defense was never a defense that I thought Sam Darnold was going to crumble against, because Sam Darnold only crumbles when you can get pressure to the quarterback, and the 49ers don't really get that much pressure to the quarterback at all. They, as you say, they kind of bend but don't break, which, I mean, they did pretty successfully in that game as well in terms of bending and not breaking. In terms of the balance of the side, I think they have Jackson Swift and Jigba as their wide receiver. That's a good down the field passing game. They then have what has now turned into a very good run game, and it was a great run game last night. Now, it's been kind of blowing hot and cold, but they have 2 running backs in there, and Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet as well, which gives them nice balance. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they can get pass rush if they want to from DeMarcus Lawrence, or sending an extra guy as well. I thought Hall was great. He got a really great sack, really important sack and a good point. But DeMarcus Lawrence has been excellent. And then Nico Manwari, the rookie cornerback that they have, when they play 6 DBs and they're able to get Tyreek Woolen and Nico Manwari on the field, they're able to play DBs, cornerbacks, against heavy tight end teams, which kind of takes away the 49ers' real big edge, which is George Kittle from the tight end position.
Right. And them not putting away the 49ers, though, with the 49ers having a weaker defense than we're used to, makes you have to question, what happens if somebody gets hot. But also, let's not forget, Seattle can get hot and put up points too. But struggling against that defense for the 49ers is what just made me go, wow.
Yeah. And Jay, I thought the biggest thing, I thought the biggest thing was the Seahawks tackling. The Seahawks it didn't feel like they missed. They missed a couple of tackles, but there was always somebody at the ball. Like, the tackling was great, which is what you have to do against the 49ers. It's what you have to do against Christian McCaffrey. And to be able to get down Christian McCaffrey is one of those guys who breaks tackles, makes you miss them, and stuff like that. Like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. And the Seattle Seahawks came up and they made those tackles. Reek Woolen, I thought, was great. I'm always surprised at how little respect Reek Woolen was getting at the start of the season. It sounded like they wanted to trade him. He wasn't getting much game time. Whenever I see him play, he looks really great as well in those positions. But Jay, does this offensive performance worry you about the San Francisco 49ers going forward? Do you think it's just a blip? They are a great defense. They're a top 3 defense, in my opinion.
That's the thing. We've seen games where you're like, wow, this is one of the best defenses in the leagues. And then we've seen some games where it's like, okay, you can put points on them. I think it's a lot to do with boxing. Styles make fights. I think in NFL, matchups, right? Matchups. And I think all three of these teams, if they play each other with the Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, they all know each other so well and play each other so twice a year. This is going to be a beat down, drag out type of fight. The question now comes down to, like, when you play the Bears, do you have enough to stop the Bears? Do you have enough to stop the Packers if Jordan Love is on throwing from his back foot? And that's what makes the playoffs great. So I think they're a great defense, but again, in the playoffs, styles make fights. So personally, I think they match up well against the Niners. I think they match up well against the Rams. But I do question, like, if you play the Bears, or I wonder if the Eagles ever get their shit together too, because that's a team that you look at all the talent, but they haven't done shit. So I think the Seahawks are in a really good spot to get themselves to the Super Bowl with home field advantage. Can you take advantage of the home field advantage? Because it's hard to play in Seattle. It's a long flight for pretty much everybody to Seattle. I think they're set up perfectly. I just think last night made me go, wow, they are human, maybe more than anything, right? It made me go, wow, okay. Because at one point in the game, I thought the Seahawks are just going to blow this out. Going into the fourth quarter, I'm like, you left this close enough where I think the 49ers going to fuck around and win this game, which never happened. But turnovers are what seemed to have derailed the 49ers last night, because we didn't expect the 49ers defense to come out and be amazing. 49ers, you're almost just hoping you can slow a team down enough so you can outscore them.
Yeah, I think with the 49ers offense then, just to finish off on this game, are we worried about that 49ers offense with how poor they were here? It looks like they're going to play either the Eagles and then the winner, or the winner of the NFC South in the first round. They're currently sat fifth. I think the Rams can jump them if the Rams win today and go into fifth. I can't really remember. They'll have equal records. So they're
even. Yeah, so with those three teams. Sorry.
I was just saying, so that it just looks like the 49ers are probably going to play one of either the Eagles or the NFC South winner, so the Bucs or the Panthers, depending on the Falcons Saints game today. Are they kind of like, if they must, one, you must be desperate to play the winner of the NFC South after what we watched last night, and we'll get into that game as well. But that would be a great game to get your offense back clicking. But if they go against the Eagles with the Eagles defense there, should they be worried about their offensive performance today? Because the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks are probably all three of the best teams in the NFC. But because they're in the same division, they're going to have to play tough opposition. And the 49ers going up against the Eagles, I don't think that's a great matchup for the 49ers in terms of their offensive production with the way that the Eagles play defense as well. So should the 49ers be worried going into the playoffs after this offensive performance?
Well, after this one, sure. But then the last 3 weeks, you played out of their minds offensively. I mean, the week before, nobody could stop them. It's which Brock Purdy shows up. And again, this is the thing with Brock Purdy got me questioning. I finally praised the fucking guy after 3 weeks, and then he comes out and does this. So I'm never sure what to think of this 49ers offense, and I'm never sure what to think about Brock Purdy, because every time we think we got Brock Purdy figured out, he either goes off and looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, or then he turns back into a pumpkin a couple weeks later. Yeah, so, I do have a lot of questions about the 49ers going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think with the 49ers offense in this one, they played up against a great defense that just matches up well. And I think it is important to remember Trent Williams will be back for the playoffs. And the reason why Brock Purdy needs to be better when he's getting that pressure than he was last night. But he'll have less pressure in his face. And hopefully, Ricky Pearsall will be back. But Jay, the big question is, will Brock Purdy be able to play in the next game? It sounds like he got absolutely crunched at the end of the game last night. Got a stinger to the left shoulder. He's cut up his hand. It sounds like it's fine and he'll be playing, but how much does that limit them that now that Brock Purdy has an injury as well? Is it almost worth calling Matt Jones back into the team?
Well, and a lot of it, so being the left arm, as long as he can go, I mean, he can protect himself, he'll go. There's that weird thing. Sometimes quarterbacks, you get an injury and you just don't play right. Other times seems like that injury can make you focus more and lock in more. And I don't know. I think they're one of the teams who are in they're in a better position than most teams if they have to play their backup quarterback. Because you and I at times have argued, well, Mac Jones is better, and then Brock Purdy comes out and has 3 games like he had. And so, I don't think it's the greatest fall off from Brock Purdy to Mac Jones if they have to do that playoffs. And I think the 49ers are definitely a team that doesn't just rely on one guy to win.
Yeah, I mean, we could say they could with Christian McCaffrey.
Well, right? Christian McCaffrey. They don't rely on a quarterback.
One quarterback to win.
They don't rely. That's a better way to put it. They're not a team that relies on their quarterback to win.
Yeah, they're a good.
So,
yeah, and I think with Brock Purdy, it looks like he's going to play, and it sounds like it was just a stinger as well. And it looks like he's going to play. And I think with Trent Williams' protection, look, if they go up against the NFC South, I think the 49ers come out and win. I think a game against the Eagles, that has the potential to be a classic, but not like a go back and forth, because the Eagles defense is really good and I think matches up really well against the 49ers offense. And then who knows with the Eagles offense, which half of football they're going to decide to play really well in, and are they too far behind? Are they far enough ahead, depending on when they decide to shit the bed in the first or second half on the offensive side of the ball. But Jay, what a great game that was. The Seattle Seahawks take control of the NFC. The NFC now goes through Seattle, kind of out of nowhere as well. Jay, the other game was for the NFC South. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went up against the Carolina Panthers. We've already mentioned it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won that game. But Jay, how much can we take from this game given the awful weather conditions? And do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a Baker Mayfield problem?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Baker, but I think the weather made it fun to watch because it was just pouring in that game, because there wasn't a whole lot in that game that made you go, yeah, this is a great game I'm watching. So the weather made it a little bit better. I'm not worried about Baker. I'm more worried about Tampa as a whole. I think there's a play calling problem. I think there's a scheme problem, and I think there's an age problem in Tampa. But this is jumping a little bit, but a stat that I learned going into that game yesterday, this whole season, Bryce Young has only thrown 15 passes over 20 yards.
Yeah. I think going into – I think with that game, it was on the weather side of things, I think that really disadvantages the Carolina Panthers more than it disadvantages the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they have Bryce Young. So we're going to get into Bryce Young. And Bryce Young, is he talented enough to be an NFL quarterback? And when you watch him, it's just his arm, for me, just isn't live enough. His arm isn't strong enough. He has wide receivers that are beating the Bucs cornerbacks on the outside all the time, but you don't trust Bryce Young to throw it to the outside. He's so late to the outside, and the ball is so late getting there because he doesn't throw it with enough force, with enough velocity, that there's an interception when he throws to the outside. But there's some great plays when he actually gets it there. So he should be getting it there more often as well. And then on the other side of the ball, you have Baker Mayfield. I don't think Tampa Bay have a Baker Mayfield problem. I think it was more of a case this season of Baker May having a bit of a Tampa Bay problem towards the end of the season. It was just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were falling apart. He was playing hero ball, and then he started to fall apart as well. So yes, Baker Mayfield has thrown a lot of interceptions this season. I really do think it's because he's just trying to do so much, and he's trying to just will his team into the playoffs, which isn't a great way to be playing the quarterback position. It's not what you want to see, but it's kind of what he has to do because they've got nothing. And the Buccaneers have now managed to stop the rot of losing games. They've won one after losing 4 on the road, so they should be happy with that. But Jay, with that all said, what do you think about Bryce Young? Do you think Bryce Young is good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL?
Oh, you cut out. Was what good enough?
Is Bryce Young good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Have I?
No. Like Bryce Young, as I was watching him, I was like, oh, you're a bad fell. Like as I was watching him, that's exactly what I was thinking is Bryce Young is a first overall pick who is a backup in the NFL.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking he's probably good enough to start down the lower end of the NFL, right? Like he is good enough to start. But if you have Bryce Young, you're looking to move on from Bryce Young. That is the level of quarterback that I think they've got in Carolina, and it's a live arm problem. His arm just doesn't have the force to get it through those difficult weather conditions, or just generally get the zip to the outside either, which is a big shame because they've got a good young team in Carolina, and they won't move off Bryce Young because he's been good enough in games as well. And I think that's what's going to stop Carolina from really progressing next season as well.
Besides Miami, who is he better than?
Bryce.
Besides Tua. Yeah, besides Tua, who does he start over in the NFL? That's what I was just going through teams.
I mean, probably Geno.
I'd still take Geno over Bryce Young. It was just a bad season.
Yeah, I mean, it's the youth thing, though, isn't it? Like, at least you have the youth thing.
You can be fucking 12. It doesn't matter if you can't throw the ball. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
No, but I was just thinking, I don't think he's a starter at all when I go down the list. I agree with you. He's going to be there next year. I just don't think he's starting caliber quarterback.
He would start for the Jets now.
That's fair. Yep.
He'd start for the Jets, and it would be a disaster if he had to start for the Jets. Yeah, that would be rough. Yeah, that's probably that is probably it. Yeah, fair enough. No, he is definitely more backup. I like the way he reads a game. Like I think he reads a game nicely. I just don't think he has the arm talent to get it to the outside, which is where the Panthers are really, really strong. Jay, obviously, we don't know who's going into the playoffs out of these two yet because the Falcons are going through. But Jay, can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers be dangerous if they make it to the playoffs? And by the other side, can the Panthers really? What do they need to do differently with going into the playoffs as well?
Okay, the Panthers have beat some teams this year with the Rams, the Packers, but I would rather play the Panthers than the Bucs in the playoffs, just because Baker can light it up when he's on. You got Abuka, you got fucking Evans, Bucky Irvin. So I would be more worried about playing. And do I think Tampa can win a game in the playoffs? Yes. At this point, do I think Tampa can make a run? No.
Yeah, I think with Tampa, they've just been completely falling apart. Their season's been over for a while. Their season hasn't been over for a while. They've just been on kind of a horrendous run from when they were really great at the start of the season. They've been on a terrible, terrible run. They've now kind of halted that run. Will they kind of get it all together now going into the next game? I think they were a lot better than the Panthers. I think if it wasn't for the weather, I think that the Bucs would have really put it on the Panthers in that game. I think they were just obvious. They were just quite obviously quite a bit better. I think there was just things that the Bucs couldn't do that they would have been able to do for the Panthers if it wasn't for the weather. So I think the Bucs have more potential to be. I think the Bucs have more potential to be more dangerous. I think there's. I think for the sake of the playoffs, I think I would rather have the Bucs in there. But Jay, whoever's the NFC South champion this year, they're going to be the team that everybody wants to play in the playoffs this year. Okay, Jay, moving on. That is the Saturday games reacted to. They were the two games that counted the most. But Jay, for those betting and those betting against the spread that want to make their money this season, this week counts just as much. I mean, it is a difficult week for betting. You don't really know who's playing. You don't know who's starting definitely in a lot of these games. And Jay, we're going to start with the Houston Texans, who are 10.5 point favorites against the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans, the Bills, and the Chargers all have the opportunity to finish 5th, 6th, or 7th. They all finish on 11 and 5. I think the Texans have the opportunity to win the division if the Jags lose as well. Jay, what's the difference between kind of finishing in the 5th, 6th, and 7th seed? Like, does it make a big difference going into this?
It makes a difference because of like who you end up playing, right? The seeding is all what matters in this. So depending on how you want to land it, and teams will try to navigate who they would rather play. Like if you lose and you're the 6th seed, then where do we go? I don't think anybody wants to go to New England, so I'm not sure you want to be the 7th seed in this at all. I also don't think anybody really wants to have to go and play the Bills either, but then that's at your place, so you don't really have to worry about that because the Bills will be.
Yeah.
I really think you don't want to be the 7th seed. Do you really want to start this in New England? I don't want to start this in England.
Yeah, because I was looking at this and I've been thinking about like players resting, like how much of a difference is 5th, 6th, and 7th. And Jay, actually, the 5th seed is a huge advantage, especially in these playoffs where the 4th seed is one of the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you get the 5th seed, there's actually a pretty decent chance that you might have a home. You might have a home game in the next. You could have a home game because of the 4th seed, and also you go and play. You go and play the 4th seed as well if you're in the 5th seed. So it made me just go, all these guys are going to play all of their players. They're going to go out and they're going to play their best players. I mean, the Chargers haven't taken that tack there. I imagine they think that's because they think the Texans are going to get the win at Indianapolis. So why does it really matter? But Jay, so this game does matter for the Houston Texans, so they can clinch the 5th seed and perhaps clinch the division. But Jay, they might be looking to get their players out by the 4th quarter. Will the Texans be looking to put huge pressure on Riley Leonard so they can sit players in the 4th quarter?
Well, you're going to put huge pressure on Riley Leonard because it's the easiest way to win a game is when you get a late round rookie playing. What I didn't see, all I saw was that they decided to play Riley Leonard. Why is it that they sat down Rivers? Did they say?
I think they just wanted to see. I think that it sounded like they just wanted to see Leonard. They wanted to give Leonard a start. They wanted to see him, late round draft pick. I mean,
and if that's
horrible
why it's super
matchup to bring him into. Yeah,
but if they did it for that reasons, it's super disrespectful to even call Phillip Rivers back out of retirement and not let him play the last game, which is probably the last game of his career. Don't love that.
Yeah, and the other reason why that's weird, Jay, is this is a horrible matchup to bring your rookie quarterback into. Like, if you want to see him, just see him next. Like, if you want to see him, just wait to see him next season then. Like, if you think he's got anything whatsoever.
You saw him before you brought in Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, you've already seen a bit of him, and he wasn't terrible. And if you think you've got something, let's see him in a bit next season. Let's bring in Kirk Cousins, which we think you're all going to do, and then leave it up to a off-season camp battle between the two of them to who plays, and you might get a chance to see him next season, because putting Riley Leonard for his first NFL start against this Houston Texans defense, that is a horrific place to start, especially when Will Campbell is going to be coming off the edge and trying to take this kid's head off so he can sit in the 4th quarter.
Just for the record, not all of us think he's going there, but that's okay.
Yeah. But it sounds like that's.
I think Kirk Cousins going to the Browns, but that's a whole nother podcast, probably.
That's a big podcast topic. Jay, on the other side of this, there is one more thing as well. How big an effect does Jonathan Taylor's rushing title prospects have on this game? Sorry, I think he's about 40 yards behind James Cook in the rushing title.
I mean, you try to get them the ball, but you're not guaranteed that even if he gets the 40 yards, he's getting it, right? Because if James Cook plays at all with the Bills, but you try to get it for him in a game like this, especially when you're out of the playoffs. But I don't know how much it really is going to affect the game, because without a quarterback, it makes it really hard for the running back to do anything. You're playing against a team that's going to just stack the box because they're going to tell the young quarterback, go out and beat me. I think it's going to be a real rough day for Jonathan Taylor. You know me, he's a Badger, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think with the game as well, that is actually just their best way to win. If Jonathan Taylor goes out and gets 150 yards, so that James Cook has to get 90 in his game, then okay, that is their best way to win with Riley Leonard back there. But against this Houston Texans backline, is that going to happen? Well, I don't think so, that they're going to go off for 150 yards here. But that is their best way to win. So I think they will force the ball that way for a way to win and to give Jonathan Taylor the way to go. So look out for rushing yards in this one, or at least rush attempts. Jay, the Texans are 10.5-point favorites in this game. Who you got?
I wouldn't bet this, but give me the Texans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be keen to touch many games this week, if I'm being perfectly honest. Jay, the Cincinnati Bengals are 7.5-point favorites against the Cleveland Browns. Jay, I think the big questions on the Brown side of the ball here is, will Myles Garrett get his sack record in this one? And is this a big audition spot for Sanders against a weak defense? The Bengals are weak. Is this the kind of time for him to put it all on tape? This is my job.
I think he's done enough for this to be his job next year moving forward. But the way it sounds, I don't know if it's Stefanski or what, but they don't want him. And why they even drafted him, I don't know, because they're not doing anything to support him. They're not defending him in the media. It almost feels like they want him to fail, but this is definitely the defense to go against. I think he's more auditioning for other teams than he is for the Browns. I do fear that the Browns force him into a backup role for the next couple of years behind like a Kirk Cousins, which would just piss me off because I don't even understand why they drafted him. But if I'm him, I'm going out there, I'm trying to ball out, and if there's even a question about me in Cleveland, then behind the scenes, I'm working my way out of Cleveland.
Yeah, I think with Shador, I think with Cleveland and Kevin Stefanski, they have a problem with the turnover or the big negative plays that Shador Sanders can sometimes give, right? But he's the only guy that's gone in there and give you any upside on the other side as well, on the side of having big plays. And he's a rookie.
How about coach him not to do that?
Yeah, exactly. He's a rookie as well. They can give him he can work out a way to stop having those big plays and all of those kind of things. It's Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to give up negative plays. He doesn't want to play behind the chains ever, which no one does. But I don't get the whole Shador in Cleveland thing. I think he's done enough as well. And this should be the game where he goes out and stamps his authority on a game and tries to get himself into a starting job next year with whoever. And I'm sure for the Cleveland Browns, they'll hope it's the Cleveland Browns. Jay, the Myles Garrett sack record, do you think he makes it in this game?
I do. I think he'll get it. Joe Burrow does have this habit of sometimes trying to hold the ball, let Chase get open, make some plays. So I think he'll get that sack record. But who knows? It's the NFL, and if Myles Garrett ends up one short of the sack record, it would be the most Brown shit ever.
Yeah. I feel like every blitz stunt is going to be designed to make sure Myles Garrett gets the sack record. Like every stunt is to get Myles Garrett one-on-one, which it fucking should be anyway. But that's what they're really going for in this one. And against that Bengals offensive line, I think he does get it done. And Jay, the Bengals run game and their short passing game as well has looked good. Do you think that's the key to kind of getting the Cleveland Browns, kind of getting up against this Cleveland Browns defense? Do you think they're able to do that in this one? They're a 7.5-point favorite, the Bengals. Who have you got?
I'm taking the Bengals because I think Joe Burrow makes a statement that tells everybody I'm still Joe Burrow. But to me, it sounds like Joe Burrow doesn't love being in Cincinnati anymore. So I think more exciting stuff will come in the offseason than we'll actually see in this game.
Yeah, I've got the Bengals. I've got the Browns in that one. I think the Browns defense is very, very good, and it matches up well against that Bengals offensive line. I think the Browns defensive line really matches up well. I'm excited to get into some off-season news with Joe Burrow. Jay, a lot of very good quarterbacks being linked to Minnesota in the past couple of weeks. In Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, I've seen as well, but we can talk about that more.
Lamar is not going to Minnesota. There's no way Kevin Stefanski and Kawasi take on a quarterback who gets injured every year when they're dealing right now with a rookie who keeps getting injured. Like
Jay,
if it was Joe Burrow, I could see them selling the farm.
Yeah, absolutely selling the entire farm for Joe Burrow. I mean, you've got to. Joe Burrow with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, like sell the farm. I mean, do you have to give up one of those to seal Joe Burrow? Maybe we'll see.
Well, no, because you don't have to worry about Addison because he's still under a rookie contract for next year and the year after, and then Hawkinson's gone, so that frees up another like $12 million off the bat. There's no way they're going to bring him back. If they can trade him for something, they will. Otherwise, they're going to cut him.
Yeah, which I think is a shame for TJ Hawkinson, right? But he's been getting injured. So, Jay, the Atlanta Falcons are 3.5-point favorites against the Saints in a game that does matter, but does not matter for either of these teams. Jay, do you think these teams will be pumped up by the thought of deciding the Tampa Bay versus the Carolina Panthers playoff hopes? Do you think that pumps either team up, or do you think they're just pumped up because it's division rivalry, a lot of other stuff on the line for both of these teams as well?
Yeah, I don't think either of those teams give a shit which one of those teams make the playoffs at all. I don't. I think they're going to go in, try to win this game, go out, feel good through the offseason. And then if you're the Saints, you're feeling good about going into next year because you're moving in the right direction. If you're Atlanta, all you've done all year is cause more questions than you've answered. So I think both teams want to feel good going out. And I truly believe this is Cousins' last game as a Falcon.
Yeah, I think it's definitely his last game as a Falcon. I think they'll mistakenly play Michael Penix next year because obviously they invested that draft capital in them. In Michael Penix as well. I think that'll be a mistake. He's injury prone. He's not particularly young. And his throwing mechanics have just been so off this season. Jay, talking about this Atlanta Falcons kind of mess here, will Raheem Morris be the Falcons head coach after Black Monday tomorrow?
I say yes, but there is some rumblings that they're hiring an outside firm to look over their whole team and see where they're done. When you start hearing teams hiring outside firms, makes me feel like it is such a shit show in your organization that for some reason as the owner, you can't figure out what the problem is. That's an even bigger problem.
Yeah, I think once you start hiring outside people to come inside the building, why are you paying your people inside the building, right? Like once you've got the outside people to come fix it, why are you paying the people inside? Like you're paying double to fix the same problem.
Where it makes sense is Miami hiring Troy Aikman to help them figure out who their next GM is. Okay, you want a football guy to help you pick a football guy. I get that. Yeah. But if you have to hire a firm to do an assessment of your whole organization, which is what we're hearing, there is a problem. Like it's a systemic problem in Atlanta, right? Top down. And we were screaming this when they hired Raheem Morris 2 years ago, like, you got to get rid of your GM. Your GM's part of the problem, but the only reason you keep the GM is because the GM's got good relationships with the NFL, and Arthur Blank, have been good friends with him forever. So now you're stuck with a bad GM who hired a bad coach, who drafted a bad quarterback. Like, they compiled this 2 years ago.
Yeah, the issue with the GM as well is if you give this team that this GM has compiled to a lot of coaches in the NFL, they would be very happy with the roster they've been given as well, right? Like that's another part of it, apart from the quarterback, which is the decision you have to make. And if you get the quarterback wrong and you get the coach wrong, then we've got too many big questions. It doesn't matter if you picked a slam dunk running back or you picked a freak at tight end who was slam dunk as well. Like, it doesn't really matter.
It's literally a fuck situation because the coaching pool is so thin this year that one of the top candidates is literally Matt Eberflus. Okay, like this is who they're talking about as one of the top offseason coaching candidates. If I'm Atlanta, I clear house and I bring in Bill Belichick. And I don't care about the shit that happened at North Carolina with his girlfriend. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm bringing in Bill Belichick with the roster we have, and we're going to do something. Belichick's going to do it for a few years, get us stable, and then I'm going to move on. But there's too much talent on that team, and you need a new GM anyway. Let's try the Bill Belichick route because I'm not going with Matt Eberflus. I'm just not doing that.
Yeah, and would be interesting to see if Bill Belichick could convince Josh McDaniel over to be your offensive coordinator. Like, obviously not, but it would be.
I'm not leaving. If I'm him, I'm never leaving New England and Drake May. And we're just riding out as an offensive coordinator in New England for the next 10 years.
Yeah, right. So, Jay, who you got in this one? The Atlanta Falcons, 3.5-point favorites against the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, I'll be cheering for the Saints, but I am taking Atlanta to win this game.
Okay, yeah, I've got the Falcons in this one as well, which if the Falcons win, that means the Panthers go to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm cheering for the Saints, I'm picking the Falcons. I want Baker in the playoffs. And I think Carolina would just be the worst fucking team to get into the playoffs right now because I expect them to get bounced in the first round no matter what. Whereas at least with Baker, I feel, and Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, Ibuka, I think you got a fighting chance. So I would rather see the better matchup in the playoffs, but I do think Atlanta wins this game. And unfortunately, we have to watch a Panthers fucking game. Yeah. Oh, shit, Maddie. They're in the house. They're coming for you.
There's so many birds. Does it have to be an Eagles fan? Could it not be? There's so many.
It does. Okay. No, but it does. You already know it does.
Okay.
No Ravens fans yell "Go Birds." Yeah. No Ravens fans
just talk about the
Go Bird. Yeah, nobody yells "Go." Maybe they are talking about the Falcons, but I've never heard that either for the Falcons. So, it's got to be. See, okay. I was just about to ask. Yeah, but I was assuming, and then I'm like, Maddie got me questioning my. I was convinced, and then you had me questioning myself, Maddie.
I knew it was going to be the Eagles straight away. Jay, let's chat about your Minnesota Vikings, who are 10.5-point favorites against the Green Bay Packers. Jay, the Green Bay Packers are blocked in the 7th.
You mean the game that had a 17-point swing?
Mad, right? Mad. It's like when I originally put it in, that was crazy. When I saw it went to 10.5, I was like, what must be different here? It's because the Packers they're in the 7th seed. That's what's happening. So they're definitely not playing Jordan Love. Malik Willis is questionable, so it looks like Desmond Ridder will be the quarterback. Jay, who you got? Jay, is that the right decision by Matt Eberflus to rest Packers players because they've already know they're in the 7th seed no matter what?
Wow, I got Matt Eberflus on your brain. I know you meant Matt LaFleur, but I got you thinking about Matt. That's some residual cowboy fucking stress right there you have in you is the Matt Eberflus. No, I think you're smart to sit your quarterback, and the Packers are playing their rookie quarterback. Tuck? I don't remember his name, but that's who they're playing. So I sit everybody, though. I sit Jacobs. I sit Jordan Love. I let everybody get healthy that can get healthy. You don't rush it. But going into the playoffs at a 4-game losing streak, if that's what happens, is not the best place for the Packers to be mentally either. So it did make me for a second go, man, maybe they should play Jordan Love and Jacobs and in them for at least a half. But then if you fuck around and you get one of them injured, I get it. It's this weird – the Packers are in a weird spot because you're on a 3-game losing streak and you don't want to go into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak, but you definitely don't want to hurt your quarterbacks. You want to get them healthy from injury. I don't know. I rest everybody, and I would love the fact that, Vikings get to go out 9-8 with a winning season. So go ahead, sit everybody. I mean, let Matt LaFleur home if he wants to. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's Clayton Tune is the guy that they're going to be.
Tune, yeah, that's it. Tune. I don't know why I said Tuck, but yes.
They've already ruled out Malik Willis. They've ruled out Josh Jacobs. They've ruled out Dontavian Wicks. They've ruled out Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Xavier McKinney as well. They've ruled out some.
We might see a Trey Diggs sighting.
Yes,
Trayvon Diggs sighting might happen.
Yes, could be. Trey Diggs could come out as well. I genuinely just completely forgot he's a Packer. But Jay,
great move too. Great move by the Packers picking up Micah's best friend on waivers. Yeah. It cost you $400 and some $1,000 this year to bring in Micah's best friend for a fucking playoff run. Yeah, Mike is out for the season, but you got to make him happy in Green Bay. I live in Green Bay, amazing city, but if you were in your mid-20s, there is nothing to do. So just bring this guy in, make Micah happy, and move forward. Maybe you get something out of him. You can even bring him into training camp, though, and if you don't like the way it's going, you can cut him before the end of the season with no financial ramifications. So I think it was a great move by the Packers to bring him in. And I also agree with this. The Packers are fucked.
I think with sitting those players in this game, Joe, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially when you're going up against the Vikings, right? Because the Vikings show a defense. So you could put Jordan Love in there because Jordan Love hasn't played because he didn't play last week and he only played a half in the week before, or is it he's missed 2 games? Now, Jordan Love has missed time now. Jordan Love has missed a couple of games.
I think you got it right.
Yeah. Do you want to go into the playoffs with your quarterback not playing for another game after that? Basically, nearly 3 games Jordan Love won't have played by the time he plays a playoff game, and you think, shit. But going up against the Viking, Brian Flores' scheme is actually not necessarily helpful for going up against any other schemes that they're going to be facing in the playoffs. I think that is an interesting thing. I think having Jordan Love worrying about having to diagnose the Vikings scheme, go up against that Brian Flores team, that brings a lot of pressure, goes out to get the quarterback as well, which is what you definitely don't want happening. Jordan Love going down with an injury, I think it doesn't really help them that much. I think rest those players. You're going to be the 7th seed. You're going to have a horrible game on your hands. They looks like they're probably going to have to go play the Bears. They might have to play the Eagles, depending on how the Bears go today as well. So could be having to go to Chicago and play that game, which will be a revenge game for them as well. Rest up, get well. Jay, the other side of this is JJ McCarthy is playing in this game. He's starting this week. What can he do against Green Bay to make this a successful season for him? Because, Jay, if they win this game, it's a winning season for the Vikings, as you already mentioned. JJ McCarthy has been on and off healthy. And, Jay, personally, I think he's had enough big-time games and big-time moments to suggest he is a good quarterback in the NFL. So what can he do today to make it a success for him this season?
Just come out and have a solid game, read the defense, get the ball where it needs to go. Just play a solid game. You don't have to do anything spectacular. We've seen JJ progressing. And I want to say this because Vikings fan, I'm in a lot of Vikings groups. And I know every fan base will say this, but holy fuck do we have some toxic fans. And I just want to say, when it comes to the Vikings and JJ McCarthy and everybody's like, he's so injury prone. Look, if he wasn't a rookie, he would have started earlier with the ankle injury and they wouldn't have sat him 5 games. If he was a rookie, they wouldn't hold him out as long as they have. Well, he's not a rookie, second year, but you know what I mean. They don't want to put him in a position where he's not 100% while he's developing, which is cool. If this was this was next year or they were in a playoff run, JJ wouldn't have missed these games. Like, they were protecting him, and they were overly protecting him because they didn't want him to overcome injury while learning how to play in the NFL. So this injury prone, he can't get on the field. Yes, he has been injured, but they have made sure to protect him while healing. So it wouldn't be like this in other years. And I just want Vikings fans to understand that. And I definitely agree. The Carson Wentz show just went completely sideways. And honestly, if you look back, the one game that makes me just cringe this whole season was in Ireland. If they just win that game, then the Vikings are playing for the playoffs today. You know what I mean? And that's the game that makes me cringe through all the games. But no, I agree with you. J.J. McCarthy is definitely done enough to be the starter next year. Unless it's Joe Burrow, I think all these rumors of people talking about them moving on from J.J. McCarthy is complete insanity. And either they just want to argue online or they don't understand like what's going on in Minnesota with the development.
Yeah, and I think with JJ,
Hello.
Hey man, I think with JJ McCarthy, I think with him being, it's the big moment play. It's that first game of the season that he played with that win in the fourth quarter. That's a big moment. His game against the Dallas Cowboys, he came out and he played him well in big moments, you know. And I think we can see that he's done that. I agree. What I want to see today from JJ McCarthy is just a solid game, just minimal turnover worthy plays, minimal taking too long to throw the ball, get the ball out of your hands quick, run the offense and get out of there with a win, right? That's what I want to see from JJ McCarthy. I don't want to see the highs and lows of the JJ McCarthy show. I want to just see a consistent game from him. And I think the Vikings should take that as a really successful season, given the injuries that they've had on the offensive line to JJ McCarthy. They should take it as a successful season, a winning season, even though they didn't make the playoffs because their rookie quarterback, I think, well, their redshirted rookie quarterback was impressive. Jay, the Vikings are 10.5-point favorites in this game, though. Who have you got?
I don't love the spread at all, but give me the Vikings. I'll take the Vikings. I would never bet a Vikings game, so, you know, but and to all you watching, thank you so much. Keep hitting us up in the comments. We love it if you have any questions. And do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. That's the greatest thing you can do for our channel.
Yeah, it's really helpful to us. Jay, that would be a great win for the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings as well. I think rookie quarterback Clayton Tune going up against the Brian Flores defense is going to be rough. I think that's like difficult to diagnose. I think Flores is going to have some tricks in his bag, auditioning for a head coaching job, potentially, depending on where things are.
Well, he'll never get it in New York because he's suing them, and he'll never get it in Miami because he's suing them. But
yeah,
I love Flores, so I hope he doesn't go anywhere. But if he does, he deserves it. He earned that coaching spot. But just remember, the Vikings are going to force feed Justin Jefferson to get 53 yards. It's definitely going to happen. Justin Jefferson needs to get 53 yards to make sure every season he's had in the NFL is a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that it's really good to look out on in these kind of games as well. Jay, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites against the Tennessee Titans. The Jags need to win this game for a chance of the number 1 seed, so they will be playing their players in this one. Jay, is the Jacksonville defense just a particularly bad matchup for Cam Ward, just with how long Cam Ward holds onto the ball and how kind of he throws turnover-worthy plays and the Jags come down with them?
Okay, I just want to start this. I think Cam Ward's played good for the situation he's been in. I think Cam Ward has shown flashes of what we could see from Cam Ward in the future. He is with a dysfunctional organization, which is always rough. So this isn't a shot at Cam Ward, but I think with the way they're playing, any defense is a struggle for Tennessee right now, right? Like and now you're playing a defense that seems to be clicking. But I think it's a bad matchup for Cam Ward. I just think that Jags offense is an even worse matchup for the Tennessee Titans defense.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cam Ward is going to struggle. He holds onto the ball for a long time and he throws turnover-worthy plays, which for Jacksonville is their bread and butter. That's what they were doing at the start of the season. That made them one of the best defenses in the league. And then Jay, on the other side of the ball, you very rightly point out, the Jacksonville Jaguars have managed to kind of revamp their offense, which has been able to give them some more consistency, but not take away from the big turnover-worthy plays. Jay, how have they done that?
Liam Cohen's running game has changed life in Jacksonville. And it seems like Trevor Lawrence finally, for the first time in his career, really seems to be linked, lock and step with his coach. Like you and I, we thought, Urban Meyer might work, but then we were like, Doug Peterson, we thought definitely was going to work, right? Like we can go through the coaching. So we're finally starting to see from Trevor Lawrence what we wanted to see. Like we knew he had all the talent. We had seen the glimpses. Liam Cohen seems to be the right guy for the job. And he carried the team in the beginning while they were getting comfortable with that amazing run game. I really believe that the two guys in the NFL who have the best run schemes as coaches is Mike McDaniel and Liam Cohen. And I think that we were seeing it this year. I think Travis Etienne looks better than we thought in years past. The fact that people think that Travis Etienne is leaving after this year is kind of crazy to me. But I like it. I think they found the right coach. And this is, again, and I know they weren't going to do it, but we've talked about this with Dan Campbell. At some point when you're a team and you have this superstar offensive coordinator and you have a defensive head coach, sometimes you just got to be like, bye, Todd Bowles. Because look at Dave Canales, look at Liam Cohen, and now look at Todd Bowles, right? Like the NFL team's got to start to learn to move on when you got a superstar in the locker room. Now with the Eagles, the Lions way different. They were like 15-2 or whatever the fuck they were, 14-3, whatever they were. Like you can't fire Dan Campbell after that. I get it, but you would have been better off with Ben Johnson. I think Liam Cohen has shown he is definitely an NFL head coach.
Yeah, like the Eagles with Sirianni and Kellen Moore. It's like, well, yeah, the Eagles just won the fucking Super Bowl, so obviously you can't carry that. Like that would be insane. But with there's another name that I want to throw in there. So Liam Cohen, yes, I think gave them great consistency. It's the first time that Trevor Lawrence, I think I've seen, has been given easy routes. Like routes where he doesn't have to make big plays. He has escape routes. He has people in the flat that he can just hit, and Trevor Lawrence can do that. And then he can also make the big play. But the other name is Jacoby Myers. That's the guy who's come in and given them consistency because he actually catches the fucking ball at wide receiver. So that's just a helpful start to their offense, just getting in more consistency. With Brian Thomas Jr., when it was Travis Hunter at the start, Washington as well, they had big playability, but not much consistency because the balls were going to the ground. So once you have Liam Cohen's run game, which has been put in, and it gives Trevor Lawrence lots of nice and easy options as well. And then Jacoby Myers has been really great since he came in as well. You get a lot of consistency. And going up against the Tennessee Titans, a consistent offense is the key. Like just putting them on them until they break. Jay, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites here. They're going up against the Titans. 13.5 is a big spread, but who have you got?
I just hate the spread, right? Because I don't think anybody's questioning who wins this game.
Yeah.
I hate this. Give me the Jags. I almost went with the Titans, but give me the Jags.
I think the Titans have sneakily shown real glimpses of improvement in the past couple of games, in the same way that the Saints have as well. Those two teams that we thought were going to be two of the worst in the league have shown good glimpses. But Jay, I think the Jags have actually got something to play for in the number one seed. They can go out there, they can put the pressure on the Broncos. So they can go out there and put the pressure on the Broncos. The Broncos have to go out and win. They can put the pressure on the Patriots. The Patriots have to go out and win if the Jags win this game. So give me the Jaguars as well. ChatGPT also took the Jags as a best bet as well. And Jay, we're going to finish off the early window before we head to a break. Guys, stay with us after the break as well. But we're going to finish with my Dallas Cowboys going up against the New York Giants. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-point favorites. Jay, would it be better for the New York Giants just to lose this game?
Well, yeah, you want the higher draft pick, right? And if you could fuck around and get the first overall pick, maybe you can auction it off. I know everybody is talking about Mendoza #1 overall. Go get him, whatever. Not sure I'm at this point, and I just started. I'm not positive he's the best quarterback in the draft right now, but go get up there. You already got Jackson Dart. Auction off that first overall pick if you can get it and build your team from there. But no, you know how it works. No players and coaches are trying to lose. And the rumor is I just lost his name. The guy who's filling in for New York as their head coach. He's getting the job, though. That's the rumor. He's keeping the job. But I think the Giants.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I've seen a lot of rumors on the Giants head coach. It is Mike Kafka. Sorry, the interim.
So
is the interim.
Adam Schefter said on Pat McAfee yesterday, it sounds like the Giants are going to stick with Kafka as their head coach.
I mean, there's been elements of the Giants that, like, since Daboll's gone, that's like what they see. They're still playing hard, even though they've been bad. Jay, I think actually in this game it is better for them to win because of the position that they're in, where they've got their quarterback, they've got talent all over the field. They have so much talent, the Giants. They have Abdul Carter, young guy on the defensive line, with Brian Burns, who's got 16 sacks this year, Dexter Lawrence as well. So those high leverage guys on the defensive side of the ball, they have players in those positions. Offensive tackle, that's the one position where it's like they need a high draft pick, and they're gonna get a high draft pick. Like, they have the lowest strength of schedule out of the guys that are currently 3-13. So they're in the second overall pick. We'll talk about the Raiders and the Chiefs in a second, but I imagine the Raiders are going to end up with the first overall pick. So it's then between the Giants, the Jets, the Titans, and the Falcons and the Cardinals, of who's going to be that second pick. I think it's actually better served for the Giants to go out on a win with this young team. They feel like they were running off vibes at that early point in the season. It is better for them to go off on a win. But it's one of those games where I think the Giants kind of can't lose.
So you think one win at the end of the season in a game that doesn't matter is more important than possibly three first round picks?
I think it's going out and it's going out and it's beating the Dallas Cowboys. It keeps the vibe. I think it's a game where it's like they can't lose. If they win, then they go in with the vibe of winning. Like, if the Raiders win and they fumble the first overall pick when that's the position of need for them, that would just be a fucking disaster for the Raiders organization. But with the Giants, it's, other wins can happen as well. So they might still end up with the fourth, the fifth, go out and get that offensive tackle at fifth overall. We'll see. I just don't think.
All right, we won't get too deep into this, but I predict in this NFL draft, you're going to see quarterbacks go 1 and 2, and people don't want to hear that yet. But if you're questioning me, go watch Oregon's film and then come back and tell me I'm wrong. So if you can auction off a fucking draft pick for 3 first overall picks, I don't think there's a win in the world that equates to that, but I get your point. But for me, I want to lose. I want to lose, and I want to auction off a pick.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, like, if you're second, you get your choice. If you decide that the quarterback isn't for you, but you fall in love with this offensive tackle, or you fall in love with, other players, or you can drop back when other people fall in love with guys as well. There's always a hype train guy as well. Jay, on the other side of the ball, the Dallas Cowboys has been a bit of a nothing season, really. Like, it was a huge news season for the Cowboys, as it always is, getting rid of Micah Parsons. At the start of the season, we thought they were going to totally fall apart. They've got a bit better on the defensive side of the ball. The offense has looked pretty decent, like it's looked very good throughout most of the year, and has fallen away towards the end of the year here. Jay, will we see the Dallas Cowboys offense return to the explosiveness that we saw early in the season? And on the other side of the ball, is this a game where we need to see the best from Matt Eberflus for the Cowboys going into next season? Because he's got the tools now. It's not an entirely shit defense. Matt Eberflus needs to be held to question as to why the defense has been terrible in the past couple of weeks as well.
Well, the way it sounds, you don't have to worry about Matt Eberflus next year because he's the top coaching candidate according to Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter, which I find to be just insane. But, okay, I think the Cowboys are going to come out and play. I think the Cowboys are going to come out and put it on the Giants, to be honest with you. I think they're going to try to go in the offseason feeling well. I think you might get a big game from your receivers on the way out because they've eaten so much shit this year at times. I don't think this is even going to be close. So for me, give me the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys take this game, and I don't even think it's going to be a really close game.
Yeah, Jay, I do tend to feel the same way. I feel like George Pickens is going to come out and absolutely ball out for his contract, I think, as well. That's an important thing to mention, that George Pickens is up for his contract money, and there's been some questions asked. So we'll see what happens there. But I'll be taking the Dallas Cowboys in this game as well. And guys, if you like what we're doing and you enjoy the show, then please hit like and subscribe. We'll really, really appreciate that. But another way you can support us is by helping us out by fueling the show. And the way we fuel the show is through coffee. So you can help us out by, buying us a coffee.
Me and Jay set up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions. That'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
Yeah, so guys, if you would like to support us, then you can go to the QR code that you see on screen in the top corner or to the description below this video, and do feel free to support us in any way that you can. The best way still is to hit like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. So it doesn't have to be financial either. But Jay, a team that could use a little bit of help in feel-good factor going into the playoffs is the Los Angeles Rams. They're 13.5-point favorites against the Arizona Cardinals. Jay, I know me and you think that the MVP vote is already sealed for Drake May, but will Stafford, still trying to push for that MVP, take over this game in terms of the play calling?
I like what they're doing. I like that they're all in for this game in LA. I like that the Rams are just trying to make sure they're playing right at the right times going into the playoffs. I think Stafford can have a great game, and I still don't think he's going to get that MVP this year. I think it's Drake May already. But if you're LA, you just want to be going in on a good note. You want to be feeling good going into the playoffs. You have a really good team. And you and I both talked at the beginning of the season how we think that the Rams have a real shot at the Super Bowl. So you're still there, but you've been fumbling a little bit down the stretch. And this is get ready for the playoffs, go in on a good note. I think the Rams go out there, and I think the Rams go out there and try to kick the shit out of the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think it is important for the Rams to say they've had the kind of second hardest strength of schedule in the league. The Arizona Cardinals are the team that have had the hardest strength of schedule because obviously they're the bottom team in the NFC West. So it's Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all in their division. But they've had a really hard strength of schedule going in. And I do think they should be using this game. I agree with Sean McVay. He came out angry after that game. He said, we're playing. I believe that's the right thing to do. They should be going into this game and trying to put it on the Cardinals and trying to make sure that they get the best feel going into the next game. I still think they have the opportunity to become the 5th seed, but I can't remember. If they win this game, they have the same record. If they win this game, they have the same record as the 49ers. It's the head-to-head, and I can't remember what the head-to-head is right now. So they still have something to play for. And if they go in as the 5th seed, then that's going to feel great for them considering where they've been over the past couple of weeks. Jay, I think they're going to go overcharge and try and really put the points on here. Can the Cardinals defense slow the Rams down? The Rams are 13.5-point favorites.
I say yes because I think the Rams win this game, but I don't think they win it by 2 touchdowns. So I'm taking the Cardinals in this game to cover with the Rams still to win. I also think that the Cardinals, they know how I don't even know how to put this. Like, they put up points, they play teams tough, and they still figure out how to lose. So I feel like the Cardinals will cover the spread, but definitely still lose this game.
The Rams and the 49ers have shared they split their matchup. So I think that means on strength of schedule, then the Rams go in. God, go to conference or something.
Conference. Division wins first. So who's got the most divisional wins, and then it goes to conference.
Okay. Well, Well, there's no need to look at this right now. But anyway, they might have a chance, they might not. Jay, I agree with you. I think the Cardinals do put up big points. I think the way that they've got Jacoby Brissett playing does actually go against the Rams, and the way that the Rams, the way the Rams actually play defense is get the pressure on the quarterback. Hopefully the cornerbacks can kind of match up against your guys. They're very small in the cornerback position. So with the Rams and with the Cardinals and the way that Jacoby Brissett throws the ball, it's quick. It's out all the time. They're throwing all the time. They keep your defensive line having to come faster and faster and faster. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Cardinals defense can hang with this Rams team in overcharge. So I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Give me the spread. Again, I wouldn't bet on this game. But
so if the Rams win, they're the 5th seed. If they lose, they're the 6th.
Okay. So there is something to play for. That 5th, the 5th is a big deal, like in this division as well, because you're going up against the NFC South. So the Rams, if they win this game, they go up against the winner of the NFC South, which, I mean, they lost to the Panthers earlier in the season, so it could be an.
I don't think any of us believe that would happen again, but yes, it did happen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Jay, the Las Vegas Raiders are going up against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wait,
the Chiefs.
Who did you take? I didn't hear you. I was chat GPT.
Oh, sorry, I took the Rams in that one.
Okay.
Jay, the Las Vegas Raiders are going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 4.5-point favorites. Jay, are the Raiders just looking to lose this game again? There's no way that they're going to try and win it, right?
Well, the players are going to try to win it, and Pete Carroll's going to try to win it, right? Because Pete Carroll might be fired come tomorrow, but I don't think the Raiders want to win it.
Yeah, Geno Smith is out, so they're playing Kenny Pickett. The left guard is out, and then obviously they've got Max Crosby on IR as well. Brock Bowers on IR as well. So they've obviously got they're sitting their chosen players still, which I think is smart as a GM. I agree with you. The players come out to play, right? The coach, I think the coach would much rather have, if the coach has job security, does the coach go out to win? But you're right, Pete Carroll doesn't have job security.
No, and he's the only coach I've ever heard of only getting a 3-year deal.
Yeah, and he was only signed last season as well. So it's like, well, I mean, a 3-year deal, I mean, he is 70 odd as well.
I know, but coaches get 4- and 5-year deals. So you didn't expect him to be there long anyway. So to move on from him now wouldn't be that big of a hit as it would for normal coaches. I could see them moving on because of how so fucking bad it has been all season.
Yeah, it's been terrible. I think Kenny Pickett is potentially playing for a backup role at maybe a better team than this as well. Like an interesting wrinkle there. I think Kenny Pickett is one of the better backups in the league. I don't think he's a starting quarterback, but he's a decent backup. He was good for Philly when he was there.
Well, I'll make this easy on you. Give me the Raiders to fuck up their season, fuck up the overall pick. They go in, and sadly, Travis Kelce goes out of his career on a loss.
Give me the Raiders. Jay, okay, I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. I think the Chiefs...
I'm the only person on the planet who just picked the Raiders, and it's going to happen. Watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the Chiefs in this one. I think the Chiefs will have a game plan put together to show the best of their rookie quarterback as well. I think they'll be feeling much better about that, and they'll want to go out and they'll want to win one for Travis Kelce on his way out.
Kenny Pickett is going to make Raiders fans question all offseason, should he have been the starter the whole year? The answer is no, but he's going to make you question it. That's what's going to happen.
And I think I do think with Kenny Pickett, like Kenny Pickett does have, like Kenny Pickett does have good backup quarterback ability. He does not have good starting quarterback ability, right? So I think he is playing for his job here, and that does kind of lead towards, having good games. Jay, the Philadelphia Eagles are 4.5-point favorites.
Wait. One question before we move on. Sorry.
Go on.
Who you trust more as a quarterback in this game?
Well, I trust Pickett more as a quarterback in this game, which I think is a fair reason to pick the Raiders. But
I'm just curious. I'm just curious because you're not going to hear I choose Kenny Pickett very often. So, I was just curious who you had more faith in, and I got more faith in Ashton Genty than I do in the Chiefs running game, too, to break a big run. Not to be completely consistent the whole game, but I think we might see an upset in the making that fucks up everything for the Raiders.
I think when you look at the amount of guys on IR as well for the Chiefs, I was just looking it up here. So the Chiefs have got Patrick Mahomes on IR, Rashee Rice on IR, Traquan Thornton on IR, Josh Simmons on IR, Jalen Moore is questionable. Jawan Taylor is also on IR, and then none of the Deion Bush is on IR. Jalen Watson is on IR. They don't have loads of huge players on IR on it. Trent McDuffie is on IR. They have sat most of their team.
They traded away their best fucking lineman to the Bears in Thune. So I don't know. In Thune, I don't know what they were doing. So yeah, I don't know.
Trey Smith is
I don't know why. I just feel like a weird upset is brewing.
I can see the Chiefs actually. The Chiefs have kind of sat on their team. God, Jay, you're convincing me. I'm taking the Chiefs. We're moving on. Jay, the Philadelphia Eagles are 4.5-point favorites against the Washington Commanders. The Eagles look like they're sitting a lot of their players now as well. There's talk of them sitting Jalen Hurts already. They're sitting lots and lots of their starters. It sounds like they just haven't described which starters they're sitting yet. Are they right to do that? They're giving some rookies some time as well, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're right to sit players, do you think?
Yeah, get healthy. You're not going to fix what the problem is in 1 week in Philadelphia. So all you can hope is that you get your guys healthy and have the healthiest team you have moving forward into the playoffs. I say rest your starters. It is weird with Sirianni saying that a lot of them are going to rest on how Washington is still picked to lose by almost 5.
It looks like he's starting the offensive players. So Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, all cleared and playing. Lane Johnson is the only big guy. Lane Johnson and Dallas Goedert are the only people who are kind of registered as out who would be playing every game in that one. But then on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Carter is out. Jalen Phillips is out. Nakobe Dean is out. Marcus Epps is out as well. So he's gone to rest his defensive players because, Jay, I think he wants to get a bit of chemistry with that offensive side of the ball, wants to put a whole game together. I'm surprised that he's doing that because with the Eagles, they've been in these big spots. The Eagles have been in big spots. They're going to come away from being rusty. I don't think rust is really a problem for them. But, Jay, do you think going up against this Commanders defense might be a good time for them to get some offensive chemistry together and maybe just play the first 3 quarters?
No, if I'm them, I'm sitting Brown, I'm sitting Smith, I'm sitting Barkley, and I'm sitting Hurts. So, I don't know. I think it's insane to play your starters in this game. But they're going to do what they're going to do, but I don't think the Eagles can move at all. I think they're locked in no matter what. So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's everyone. If the Bears lose, they actually go up into the 2nd seed.
Okay.
So they're playing for the 2nd seed, which I do think then what's weird there is resting your entire defense. Like if you're going to
Unless you
play,
just
then
think
play.
that the Commanders can't score.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I just a thought. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I agree with you. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird to say. I think it's weird to say we're going to rest our entire defense and play the offense, because if you're playing the offense because the number 1 seed is on the line, then play your defense as well, surely, until you put it away. I mean, yeah, they won't know. They won't know when the 2nd seed is out. But obviously, the Commanders are playing Josh Johnson back there as well. Larry Tunsil's out for this game as well. So they have, they have problems with the Commanders because Marcus Mariota is out as well. Jay, the Eagles are 4.5-point favorites here. Who you got?
Give me the Eagles. I still think they win. I'd have probably took the Eagles with their backups just because Jaden Daniels is not playing, so I would have probably still.
Yeah, no Jaden Daniels, no Marcus Mariota either. Josh Jacobs back there. I agree with you, Jay. I think the Commanders are not going to really move the ball. Give me the Eagles in this one too. Jay, the New England Patriots are 11.5-point favorites versus the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have ruled out Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane as well, and they're also playing Quinn Ewers back there. Jay, can Mike McDaniel save his job with a win here?
If he saves his job, then I don't know what's going on in Miami. And I don't think he saves his job because I don't think you bring in Troy Aikman to help you do a GM search, bring in a new GM and keep an old coach. I just don't think that's a smart move to saddle a new GM with somebody else's coach, especially one who's been struggling. So for me, I don't think there's anything he can do to save his job. And I don't think there's a single way they can win a game without Achane.
Yeah, I think once they sit Achane, then that's a real problem for them winning this game. If they do come out and win this game, then they finish the season 8-9, and you think, okay, they finished the season 8-9. There's no standout coaching candidates. We've got one of the best run game coordinators in the NFL in the building. They could talk themselves into sticking with Mike McDaniels. They'd be wrong to talk themselves into staying with Mike McDaniels. That would be a stupid thing to do in Miami. I think he's lost kind of the respect of the players. I think he's been kind of a dead man walking for a while. They've played hard. They've played a good running game. So I do think they could talk themselves into Mike McDaniels, but yes, it would definitely be a mistake if they kept Mike McDaniels. It's just who's the coach that they bring in. I think they hope that maybe if Mike Tomlin gets fired, right?
If the Browns, some reason, decide to fire Stefanski, he will quickly be the number 1 coaching candidate.
Yeah, 100%. So, Jay, I think I agree with you. The Dolphins are really going to struggle to win this game without Trevon Achane. Jay, looking at the game script, will the Patriots be looking to make Drake May's MVP candidacy beyond doubt? Are they going to be throwing this ball hard to make sure that Drake May is the guy?
I don't think Vrabel gives a fuck about shit like that. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think Drake May has to do anything except not implode to win this. I do also think that you're going to see our New England team who tries to run up the score in the first half so they can sit everybody by a minimum the fourth quarter, but maybe even at halftime.
Yeah, we saw them do it last week where they sat Drake May by the fourth quarter as well. I think Vrabel doesn't mind running the score up on people either. So I think with Drake May, what if he gets 220, doesn't throw a turnover, keeps his completion percentage up pretty decently high, because that's what his MVP candidacy is based on, like number 1 in completion percentage, number 1 in passer rating. So as long as he just doesn't destroy those numbers entirely, then yeah, I agree with you. Then he's going to be the MVP. Jay, the Patriots are 11.5-point favorites here against the Miami Dolphins. Who you got?
Give me the Patriots.
Yeah, Jay, I was going to take the Dolphins until the news of Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle being out, because I thought, the Patriots might just not 1-2-3, not 1-2-3. We're going to the playoffs. I just think that run game that they've had in Miami has been pretty good, and the Patriots have struggled with the run game without Milton Williams, but without Devon Achane, it is the Patriots at 11.5 points. I'll be taking them. Jay, the Chicago Bears are 3.5-point favorites against the Detroit Lions. This game does have some meaning. It clinches the second seed in the NFC here. Jay, can the Bears defense step up and show that they have what it takes to stop good offenses? The Bears defense has been poor in the past couple of games.
Yeah, and I've been really going back and forth on this game too. And I think at times we see a Bears defense that plays out of this world. At times we see a Bears defense that I don't even want to say they play awful. They give up big plays, and you have to limit those big plays, and that's a problem when you don't stop them. And you are playing a team that can put up points in bunches. So that is going to be a good test for Chicago today to see if their defense can hold up against the team. But how do the Lions feel right now, too, knowing that their season's over? They're, as weird as it sounds, they're in kind of new territory over the last few years. Even though this team was shit for 30 years, they've been good for the last few. So they're in a weird position right now. Do they have enough oomph to get up for this game, knowing that their season's over?
Yeah, well, for the Lions, they should do, right? Like, Dan Campbell is the kind of guy that does that. And Jay, they're playing against the team that has gone from worst to first in their division, while the Detroit Lions have gone from first to worst in their division. The Detroit Lions could legitimately finish behind the Vikings. After all that's been said about the Vikings this year, and not many people talking about the Lions in the same vein, the Vikings, I think, will finish above them no matter what happens, because they're already above them, and they're both playing divisional opponents. So no matter what happens, if the Vikings lose and the Lions win, then the Lions finish above the Vikings. You don't want to be going from first to worst. I think they will be up for this because you're playing against the team that has gone from worst
and I have
to
no
first.
idea what
Chicago fans are annoying, man.
I have no idea what the Lions' divisional record is, but the Vikings will finish 4-2 if they win this game in the division.
Yeah, if the Vikings win, the Lions are last in the NFC North, no matter what happens in the game. And the Vikings are third, which we shouldn't be talking about, like, third and fourth and whatever. But those kind of things matter in terms of like ways things are talking about. And Jay, with the
it matters for next year's schedule too.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, with the spotlight on the offensive coordinator, John Morton, and then on Dan Campbell as well, have we been giving Jared Goff a pass? Like, has Jared Goff been as good this season compared to last season? I've seen some questions asked about him.
I don't think he's been as good, but I also think it has a lot to do with new offensive coordinator. And my question comes in, and this is what we'll see today. Does this locker room still play for Dan Campbell when there's nothing to play for, right? Are they still going to get up and play tough football for Dan Campbell, or are we starting to see when you're not making the playoffs and winning, that kind of coaching starts to wear on players? So that's also something in this game people need to start watching for.
Yeah, and I think with Dan Campbell going forward, it is they haven't really been hit by the injury bug, like in the same way that other teams have. Like, yes, people have some players injured, but the Lions have had injuries just like the Vikings have had injuries, just like
the Vikings have been decimated this year. This is the worst injury year I can remember for the Vikings. So, yeah, it's been rough.
So it's the way that the 49ers have dealt with injuries and stuff like that. Like, Dan Campbell can't continue to play, we made it through even though we've been injured, and get him through there and stuff like that. He can't continue to do that. And I agree with you that Jared Goff is not the reason that this offense has struggled. When they've actually, the game where they called the best game against the Dallas Cowboys with getting Jahmyr Gibbs in space. They ran loads of motion. Jahmyr Gibbs was in nice amounts of space. Jared Goff played really well. He hits the guys that he's meant to hit. You need to give Jared Goff the system, and then he elevates that system as well. I'm not trying to say he has to play a system. He elevates those systems if you give them to him, and that's what he did last year. And then Jay, on the Chicago side of the ball, they'll be really up for this game. How important is the number 2 seed for the Chicago Bears?
It's everything, because if you win your first game, you get a second home game. And let's look at everybody in the playoffs and the wild card. I mean, there is legitimately a shot that the Seahawks get knocked out in their first game, and then you get an NFC championship game in Chicago. That's if you keep winning. I mean, there's a good chance this is going to be a brutal stretch for NFC playoffs. But the second seed is huge because as long as you keep winning, you get guaranteed 2 home games. And you could get a third if it works out perfectly. I think the second seed means everything to Chicago right now. Because I had even said, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I think the only way the Bears are a true contender is if they have home field advantage.
Yeah, I agree. And Caleb Williams is 10-6 as a starter at home in his career as well. So he's much better at home than he is on the road. I think this season it's a lot bigger than that. Actually, that's given the fact that last season they lost so many games. This season he's played particularly well. So 10-6, they're really good at home this year. Them playing at Soldier Fields and the way that the weather is up there really suits their game plan. Really suits the style of play that Ben Johnson has them playing as well. So I think those home games are really important.
It is fucking cold in Chicago. So people will have to deal with that in the playoffs.
It's cold in Chicago and the fans are loud in Chicago. And at the moment, there's a lot of Chicago Bears fans who are also Indiana fans as well. Like you see a lot of those, like a lot of crossover currently between Indiana fans who are having one of the greatest seasons in college sports, and then they get Chicago Bears as well. And those fans are going mental in both stadiums.
It's because parts of Indiana are a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. So you have like the Indiana season with the Bears season. Like they have there's a lot going on there. It's like when the Eagles, it was like when the Eagles were playing for the Eagles are playing well and the Phillies are playing well for the whole time. It's like the whole city is behind a team. So getting the second seed here is so important for the Chicago Bears. So I think they'll come out. I think they'll play hard. I think they're a bad matchup for this Detroit team as well because of the way that they're able to run the ball and control the ball as well. Jay, I think this is going to be a really fun game. Give me the Bears at 3.5 points.
And the Bears could end up in Indiana because Indiana's trying to give them a new stadium, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's crazy. Jay, I'm taking the Bears at 3.5 points. Who you got?
Give me the Bears. I think the Lions shit the bed, and I don't think they're going to be able to get up for a game when they don't have anything to play for.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they probably get out-schemed, out-coached as well by Ben Johnson here, which has been happening all season, which means you need to look at your coaching staff if you're in Detroit. That's been happening all season. Okay, Jay, moving on to a game that looked like it could actually mean something with the Denver Broncos. Potentially, the Denver Broncos, if they win this game, they get the first overall pick. They're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, who are fighting between the fifth, 6th, and 7th as well. But Jay, Harbaugh is leaving it up to his backups. Jay, is Harbaugh right to leave this game up to his backups?
Only because they've been injured, right? Like Justin Herbert's had the hand injury. I get it. You want to rest him. I don't really believe the Chargers are a contender for the Super Bowl this year anyway. I think you just want to make a good run in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They're trying for the Super Bowl, but as long as they make a decent little run in the playoffs, I think it was a successful season. I'm excited to watch Trey Lance play. I'll say that. And I'll make this simple on you, Maddie. Especially, I would have picked the Broncos even if the starters were playing. I'm picking the Broncos with them not playing. The Broncos are going to try to win this game they're going to try to put them away. They want that number 1 seed. I think that everything is in the Broncos' hands right now to have maybe the best season they've ever had if they can finish it off, right? Like, because their defense has just been great and whatever. So I'm going with the Broncos, but I do believe the Broncos are going to wreak havoc on Trey Lance, so I feel bad for him. I think that it's going to be a long day for Trey Lance in that offense because this is one, if not the best defense in the league, which I think it is. It's up there. People can argue what they want, but I think this is the best defense in the league. I think Bo Nix has been playing well. And I think my only question with the Broncos is how conservative their play calling is. But other than that, I think the Broncos are amazing. So give me the Broncos minus the 14.
And on that conservative play calling, that's what I'm going to jump off and say. I'm taking the Chargers in this one, actually, because I made that promise. If the Broncos are more than a touchdown favorite, I'm not taking them. It's not happening because
even if they're playing backups, though, that doesn't change it.
I don't think they play that style of football even well. That's the thing. It's not that they might not even go out and try. It's just whenever they do go out and try and put teams away, they don't do it well. It's not something that they've done all season.
I'm not trying to change your mind, but I think even that conservative play calling is going to put a bunch of points up on a team who's resting everybody.
Yeah, I haven't seen who the Chargers are resting on the defensive side of the ball. I think the fact that Trey Lance is playing is a fun little side note here. I think Trey Lance is it's
actually going to make me turn the game on at some point today and watch some of it. So
also the other reason why the Broncos are really going to come out, and definitely the Broncos defense is going to lay the hammer in this game, is because of one of the reasons that I turn Broncos games on is Mile High Stadium and how cool it looks when they're playing at home. And they'll, if they get this first overall seed, Mile High is a place where you want the number one seed in the AFC. You want it to run through Mile High if you're the Denver Broncos as well. But I think Trey Lance actually is here playing for a job next year because of the teams that are looking for quarterbacks, right? There's so many teams. There's about 8 to 9 teams that will be looking for quarterbacks next year. There's not enough quarterbacks to fill those jobs. Trey Lance might be worth rolling the dice on. We'll see if he is going up against really tough defensive opposition.
And if you're not playing your receivers, they're already a weak receiving core, so it just makes it rough. But the Orange Crush is back in Denver, so Denver can be excited about that.
Yeah, they definitely should be. Jay, I'm still taking the Chargers in that one at plus 14.5 because I've taken all the big spreads so far, and I just trust the Broncos.
14 or 13.5?
14.
Okay. You said both. That's why I asked.
Oh, sorry. My bad. 14.
Don't worry.
14. It's because, Jay, the next one is the Buffalo Bills, who are 8.5. They're going up against the New York Jets. And, Jay, I think this Buffalo Bills team is going to come out and play angry. And, Jay, will the Bills just be desperate to sit Josh Allen in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think they're going to try to score enough points to get James Cook and Josh Allen off the field as quick as they can. But there's still things that can happen, so the Bills need to win this game. So I think that's, something they're going to do. And the Jets have to be all in and tanking for a quarterback at some point. They're just so awful. But, again, Aaron Glenn's not going to want to lose. I don't think his job should be in jeopardy, but the way it sounds, it might be. So that's kind of crazy to me. But I don't think there's enough talent on the Jets to win this game.
Yeah, it looks like the Bills are at least going to jump up to the 6th seed because the Chargers, who are joining record, they're probably going to lose to the Broncos. They're like a 14-point dog. They're probably going to lose to the Broncos. So the Chargers go to the 7th seed, which makes sitting at the Chargers even more weird because the 7th seed has to go to New England first rather than going to Jacksonville. It's strange to sit your starters if your options are the Patriots or if the options are Foxborough or Jacksonville, those.
Do I want to play in New England in shit weather against that team, or would I rather go play Jacksonville in a warm weather? It really weird.
It is weird to sit. I think maybe they've just gone, look, we're probably going to lose this game against the Broncos with our starters anyway. May as well just set everybody. But the Bills, I think with the Bills, I agree. I think they're going to come out angry. They're going to try and run the board up. And I think they're also going to try and get James Cook that rushing title as well. I do think those kind of things do matter to Buffalo, actually. So, Jay, I'm taking the Bills in this one at 8.5 points. Who you got?
I think I'm doing the same thing, double down on that. But I think it's a smart thing to try to get him the rushing title. You show your players that you give a shit about their personal goals as well as team goals when you can. Team over personal all the time, but when it's open to get that personal goal for a player, I think it sends a good message to your team by trying.
Yeah, I think as well, like when you're in a city like Buffalo, it's not the best 3 agent city for people to go to. Sean McDermott doesn't have the pull of a Vrabel as the head coach as well. Like giving them the little bits of the little bits of joy that they get with things like rushing titles and all of that, I think is a really big deal. So, and the Bills are just better when they run the game through James Cook, as we've seen throughout huge points of this season. So they should be trying to do that as much as they can. And Jay, that leads us in to ending the show with 8 minutes before kickoff by talking about Sunday Night Football, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going up against the Baltimore Ravens in the game that means the most today. This is win and in, lose, go home. But Jay, is it also lose and lose your job for the two coaches? Could you see the loser out of the loser out of Tomlin and Harbaugh? Could you see them losing their job? That comes in 8 minutes, man. Cheerio in 8 minutes.
But thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you. Harbaugh loses his job if the Ravens lose. I think the Steelers made it perfectly clear that Mike Tomlin will decide his own future, which, okay, he earned the right to decide his own future. I don't think he's going anywhere because I truly believe Aaron Rodgers' interview showed that Rodgers is coming back next year and that he is not done with football. So I think that Tomlin stays with the Steelers no matter what happens, but we'll see. I think Harbaugh loses his job if they lose. With that all being said and on some time restraints, I don't think Harbaugh has to worry about it. I think they beat the Steelers, and I think it's Raven and Lamar in the playoffs. I don't see the Steelers having enough talent to beat Derrick Henry, Lamar. The defense is looking better, but who knows, because both teams have figured out a way to look awful at times this year.
Yeah, I think that the Ravens' offense has really turned around. Derrick Henry has started to look good as well. But the big news this week, Jay, is Lamar Jackson has had his first full week of practice all season. How big of an effect do you think that has on this game? That it's Lamar Jackson's first full week of practice in the season. He's been a full participant all the way through, and he's cleared for this game. How big of a difference do you think that is for the Baltimore Ravens?
I don't know about the whole week of practice being huge, but him playing is huge because I might even have picked him with Snoop Huntley. So, I think that this is big to have Lamar back because Lamar's legs can kill you. They can literally end a game for you and beyond what he can do with his arms. So, I think it's just even more weapons in their arsenal. And I'm not going to lie, and maybe it's because of the divisional game, I was shocked that it was this close. No DK Metcalf. We don't know about TJ Watt unless they announced it yet. So I doubt TJ Watt plays, but there's a chance. So I don't know. I think that what do you do if you're the Steelers without DK Metcalf because you got no receivers as it was? And I like Calvin Austin, and I like Washington, the big tight end. I like Freiermuth, but I don't think it's enough. And I think Baltimore started to look better on defense. So like I said, I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah, you can run the ball against this Ravens team, but if you can't stretch the field, that's going to be tough. Jay, I'm going with the fact that it's a divisional game. It is a tough game whenever these guys play. It is playing for both of your coaches as far as you see it. It's Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers as well. The Steelers don't lose easily. So, Jay, I think the Ravens are going to win. But I'm going to take the Steelers at 3.5 because I think it'll be within a field goal in this game. So I've got the Steelers at plus 3.5, but I think the Ravens are going to win in this one. All right, guys, what a show. What a great show. What a great regular season this has been so far. And there is some stuff on the line. There's first overall. There's number 1 seed. There's number 2 seeds. There's a few rivalries. There's under the current stuff going into next season as well. So I hope you guys enjoy today. Jay, send us out like you always do.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. Just hit the notification button. We got a lot of shows that you might want to check out. And if you want to support the work, just scan that QR code or hit the description in the link. We appreciate you all. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.